Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wiley Drake, and we're broadcasting to you live from Washington, D.C. And we want to say good morning and thank you, Crusade Radio, for carrying us on Crusade Radio as well. And we do appreciate the fact that you're listening. We have a great show in stock for you. The survivors.la is the one website that we would encourage you to go to. The other website we would encourage you to go to would be to go to Acts ACTS FIVE and the number 29. Acts 5:29. Acts 5:29 is the reason for being here in D.C., one of the reasons. The second reason is to be here to be supportive of a group called Survivors.la. Survivors.la is a group of folk that a man and his wife, with 11 children, came out of the old Operation Rescue situation where they decided to start a new organization, and that new organization, of course, was indeed Survivors.la. They do camps, summer camps, camps where they train young men and young women primarily to know how to be strong and to stand and to serve the Lord and to serve the Lord in a demonstrative basis. And so they're here. They've been here now for several days, and as they've been here, they have carried signs that say survivors.la. They've been here carrying signs that say religious freedom is being lost in America. And they're absolutely right. Freedom of religion is being lost. When the United States government can say to a Catholic church, you must buy insurance that provides abortifacients, you must provide insurance that provides baby killing, you must provide insurance that violates the conscience of good Roman Catholics. Now, that not only applies to good Roman Catholics, but it applies to me. I'm not a Roman Catholic. I'm a Baptist. That means I am listed with the Protestants. So I am a Protestant. And as a Protestant, I am against baby killing. And so when the United States government forces me to buy insurance that pays for killing babies, when the United States government forces me to buy insurance that provides abortifacients, that is, pills that kill the baby, when they do that, that's a violation of my conscience. And when they violate my conscience by their law, that is the Health and Human Services mandate, then that indeed violates my religious conscience as a Protestant, as a Baptist. And I have the privilege to be the pastor of a church in California. And that church in California is an employer. We pay employee taxes. We pay taxes on our employees. We only have really two employees, a pastor and an associate pastor. But the government requires that if you are a church, you must provide insurance for your employees. And we certainly don't have any problem complying with that law to provide insurance for our pastor and staff. But if it's insurance that pays some of my premium to support Planned Parenthood to kill babies, then I don't want that insurance. If it also forces my staff and myself to buy insurance that we pay for, it's not free, we pay for it, and if that insurance then provides for killing babies, either through literally killing the baby or even one step further, literally killing a baby by giving an abortifacient. That is, a man and a woman have sex one night and the next morning they take a pill that kills the baby that was conceived the night before. That's their business if they want to do that. But it is not right for the government to force me to pay for it. As a pastor and as the CEO of our church, I refuse. I will not purchase insurance. We do have insurance on our building and on our staff, and it is with a godly company, and we will not, and I refuse to pay for insurance that would pay for killing babies. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just an issue of religion. It is an issue of religious freedom. The government is going to force me and my staff to buy insurance that would pay for those things that we have a conscience against. And so I would say we need to stand, and so we will stand. Now, if you would like to call us during this live broadcast, you're certainly welcome to do so. I'm in the very bright sunshine right now, and I'm going to move and get in a shady area so I don't get so, whoops, I left my water behind. I'm going to get in a shady area so I indeed will not get a sunburn during my time of doing this 1 hour show. So I'm going to go down here where the squirrels hang out. And somebody said, yeah, that's appropriate. Wiley is hanging out with the squirrels. Well, I'm going to do that now, not because I'm squirrely, but because I want to be out of the dire hot sunshine and be here more in the shade. And so that's what I've done here now. But I again have dropped my bottle of water, and I want to try to retrieve that, so excuse me. All right, now we're live here with you on the Wiley Drake Show, and we encourage you to give us a call. If you would like to be a part of this show, you can be simply by picking up the telephone and giving me a call. Now, there's two phone numbers you can call on. One phone number you can call on is indeed a number that is there at Crusade Radio. And that phone number is 559-592-5063. So give me a call and come on the show with me and talk to me about your opinion. If you have an opinion in this matter, we would be more than happy to entertain your opinion. I'm going to be adjusting the camera a little bit, so please bear with me as I do that. I may get a picture of a squirrel here up in the tree. All right, that seems to be a little bit better. Now, we do welcome you to the Wiley Drake Show, live here on Crusade Radio, live here on Ustream.tv. A few days ago, about a week ago, I left on my way from California to Harlem, New York. And a week ago on Sunday, I had the privilege to preach at a very fine African-American church, primarily African-American. And I was one of the few folks there that was of light skin. Most of them are African-American. Most of them are light brown, dark brown, and in between brown. But they are godly people, love the Lord. And sometimes back, After losing several of my mentors, Dr. Jerry Falwell was my mentor, and he went home to be with Jesus. Dr. Adrian Rogers was my denominational pastor from the Southern Baptist Convention, and God saw fit to take him home to be with the Lord. Another multi-denominational, independent, non-denominational pastor that was my mentor was Dr. J. Vernon McGee, and he too went home to be with the Lord after many years of ministry. And so Dr. J. Vernon McGee and Dr. Adrian Rogers and Dr. Jerry Falwell, God saw fit to allow them to graduate and come on home to be with the Lord. Before that time, it was my privilege to be under their tutelage. Now, a lot of people accuse me of name dropping and so forth, but those three men in particular were very gracious to me and very willing to allow me to communicate with them on a regular basis, to share what God was doing in my life and what I wanted God to do in my life, and they gave me some great advice. Most of their advice I took to heart, and most of their advice I took before the Lord, and most of their advice I put into practice. Not all of it, but most of it. And then in 2010, there was another man that was one of my pastors, Pastor Rod McDougall. Pastor Rod McDougall started an organization called the Congressional Prayer Conference. And so those four men mentored me and led me and gave me advice. And I worked very closely with them on several projects. And then in 2010, not only did those four men serve as my mentors and my critics and my encouragers, but there was a female. She was not a pastor. She was my wife, 48 years, 1 month, and 14 days. And as my wife, though, she was my mentor, she was my counselor, and she was my friend and my lover, and the mother of my children, and the first lady of the First Southern Baptist Church of Buena Park for more than 20 years. God saw fit to allow those three men and that beautiful lady to graduate ahead of me, and they went home to be with the Lord. And at that point, I went before the Lord and said, Lord, I need help. And so I sought help. I sought help from Southern Baptist pastors, from Pentecostal pastors, men and women who love the Lord Jesus Christ. And many of them gave me advice, many of them mentored me. But in all honesty, I was really missing the closeness that I had with those three men and that one woman. My own children, who are adults and grown and godly people in their own rights, were also my mentors. But it was difficult for me to live my life and do my job as a pastor. And so as I used the cell phone to communicate, and as I traveled around the country, I came across a man that I have a great deal of respect for because of what he does on the internet, because of a thing that he does called the Manning Report. With the Manning Report, I followed him and I listened to him, and I had several attorneys that helped me. And at that point, though, I asked the Lord, Lord, would you allow me to meet someone that could be my pastor, be my new mentor, and be my pastor? And so I met a man that comes on the television talking about himself sometimes. And when he does, he says, "This is the Manning Report, and I'm Dr. James David Manning." And I appreciated that in him. And so, even though I'm not black and he is, even though I'm a Baptist and he's not, and even though I am now, but even though I was not a member of his church,